Man, 170 people killed, 760 people injured in northern Gaza. Why? Because they were trying to get food off a humanitarian aid truck when the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, began shooting at them from tanks and from drones. Now, it is so bad in Gaza that 70% of all homes and buildings have been destroyed or severely damaged. 85% of the population have fled their homes. 576,000 people are suffering from starvation. That is one fourth of the population. One out of six babies in northern Gaza are suffering from malnutrition. 70% of all the humanitarian aid is being blocked from coming into Gaza by the IDF or by protesters. So it's so bad that people have been reduced to eating animal fodder. Now, according to one of the witnesses, we'll call him, who had been eating animal fodder for 2 months. I don't know if they're eating dog food or bird feed, but the trucks come in and the people swarm the trucks surrounding them, and that's when the IDF began shooting at them, where people ran and they hid. And then as soon as the shooting stopped, the people swarmed the trucks again because that's how desperate they are for food, which, by the way, was being given out flour and canned goods. That's it. So the IDF began shooting again, and according to the accounts, people riddled with bullets, and that's when the humanitarian aid trucks panicked, drove off, running over some of the Palestinians. Now, according to Israel, what happened was because of the stampede and people was trampled and ran over by the trucks. Almost no mention of any shooting at all. I'm sure that had nothing to do with anything. Um, According to the numbers, to Israel accounts, 30,000 people have been killed thus far. They claim that 10,000 is Hamas. So even by their numbers, that's 20,000 innocent civilians who have been killed, which undoubtedly is higher. Um, if you was to account for the amount of people who are missing and unaccounted for, that number will probably increase 3 times as much, 4 times as much. Because remember, Israel cut off all the fuel, all the water, all the food, and all the electricity. There's not even fuel to man a machine to pick up the rubble where dead bodies are laying. Now, imagine living in Gaza where you're being shot at, you're being bombed, there's no food, and the stench of death that must be in the air was bound to lead to disease and sickness, which yet another way that you could die. Um, Not that long ago, South Africa brought up a preliminary trial to the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, accusing Israel of genocide. Now, it seems obvious to me that this is a genocide, an ethnic cleansing that's happening, but you got to go through the proper channels. I get it. Um, so they concluded that genocide is plausible and that they will revisit this later. And they told Israel they need to increase the amount of aid coming into Gaza. Since then, the amount of aid has decreased by a third. Because on that same day that the ruling happened, Israel claimed that UNRWA, which stands for the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestinian Refugees, the largest organization of its kind that get food and aid into Gaza, they said that 12 people out of the 13,000 people that worked there were involved in the horrific massacre that happened on October 7th. Now, if that is true, they need to be dealt with. And UNRWA immediately fired those people. Why did they do that? They was presumed guilty before innocent because they was trying to avoid any type of punishment or backlash, from this. And did that work? Hell no, to the no, 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 because the United States, Finland, Italy, Australia, um, Canada, the UK, Finland, and the Netherlands all pulled funding from UNRWA. Only Scotland and the EU continue funding. Now, and it turns out that later we found out that Israel provided absolutely zero evidence of their claim. And on top of that, every member of UNRWA were vetted and approved by Israel. Now, when I was talking about the numbers that Israel gave earlier, I made sure to preface that according to Israel, because Israel will tell you that you cannot trust the numbers coming from Palestine because those are Hamas numbers. But history has proven that you cannot trust the numbers given by Israel. They have lied before. They definitely have motives to lie. But an example that what happened on October 7th, that horrible massacre where so many innocent people were killed. Initially they said that 1,400 people were killed. Now that number has changed three times and going down each time. Now it's at 1,136. They claimed that Hamas was beheading babies. Even Joe Biden said he saw pictures of beheaded babies. Now it turns out that that wasn't true. Joe Biden had to walk back that statement. How do you walk back? I saw it with my own two eyes. I don't know. They claim that mass rapes happened on October 7th. And more information is coming out how that may not be true. They definitely haven't proved it thus far. Matter of fact, someone leaked from the New York Times that the article that they put out talking about the mass rapes was untrue and fabricated. And the New York Times response to that was that they are looking to see who the leak was. That was their response. Now, why would Israel lie? I mean, what happened on October 7th was bad enough. Why lie on top of that to make it seem like it was even worse than it actually was? Because they want to dehumanize and demonize the people so much that to justify whatever actions that they take upon them. And what's happening to those people is a, a 45-day-old baby died from starvation. There was a girl who, the first time she was bombed, she lost her parents. The second time she was bombed, she lost her legs. The third time, it killed her. Um, you heard about the story of a 6-year-old girl who was in the car when another kid was calling 911 to help them, and you could hear bullets go through the car. You could actually hear when they died, basically. Everybody in that car was killed. And on top of that, they killed they killed the ambulance workers that arrived. The two ambulance workers, they shot and killed them too. And this is like basically happening on national television. It's on the news. It's on social media. And on top of that, make no mistake about it, the United States is funding this operation. All the bombs that's being dropped is made in the U.S. of A. Um, they want to send 14 billion more dollars to Israel for what? For stuff like this? On top of the money that they already given Israel since October 7th, on top of the 3.8 billion dollars the US gives to Israel every single year. Since 1948, the US has given Israel $318 billion. And Israel they have the fourth largest military in the world. They are a nuclear power. Their citizens get universal health care, something that we don't even get in the United States. I mean, this is crazy. I think the next video I do might be about Biden, the administration, how he's handling this, or the type of response that he's getting from this, and even if he should run for president again, either that or the border situation. So stay tuned for that. Hip Gregory out.